Lewis Hamilton has finally taken the wheel of the Ferrari SF25, and let me tell you, this machine is an absolute game-changer. For months, F1 fans, analysts, and even rival teams have been speculating non-stop. Has Ferrari finally built a car capable of fighting for the title? Would this machine be a true step forward? Or was it just another overhyped prancing horse ready to stumble out of the gate? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how the hell would Hamilton adapt after over a decade strapped into a Mercedes cockpit? Well, my friends, the mystery has finally been solved. Hamilton took his first laps in the SF25 during a shakedown session in Fiorano. And the results? Let's just say they might send shockwaves through the entire F1 grid in 2025. But before we dive into every juicy detail, how Hamilton felt in the car, what Ferrari has tweaked under the hood, and what this means for the championship battle, do yourself a favor, smash that like button and subscribe, because trust me, you do not want to miss a second of what's coming next. The most important moment of the 2025 F1 pre-season so far happened at Ferrari's private Fiorano test track, where the SF25 roared onto the tarmac for the first time. Since this was an official filming day, both Hamilton and Charles Leclerc were limited to 100 kilometers each, which doesn't sound like much, but make no mistake, these laps were absolutely crucial. This was Ferrari's first real chance to gather early performance data and, more importantly, for their drivers to get a feel for the machine before heading to Bahrain for serious pre-season testing. And because Ferrari loves tradition, Leclerc got the honor of taking the SF25 out first. The Monegasque maestro completed around 30 laps, essentially laying the groundwork for Ferrari's initial assessment of the car. And, according to early reports, Leclerc immediately noticed that the SF25 felt far more stable, predictable, and simply better in every aspect compared to last year's SF24. Ferrari has been pushing hard to improve braking stability and tire management, two major weaknesses they suffered from in 2024. After his session, Leclerc seemed pretty happy, even waving to the tifosi gathered around the track before hopping out of the cockpit. But then came the moment that had the entire F1 world holding its breath. At exactly 12:47 local time, Lewis Hamilton, dressed in Ferrari red, climbed into the SF25 for the first time. You could almost hear the collective heartbeat of Ferrari fans skip a beat as he fired up the engine. First gear engaged, hands steady on the wheel, and then, boom, Hamilton launched onto the circuit, officially starting a brand new era for himself and Ferrari. Buckle up, because this is just the beginning. If these first laps are anything to go by, 2025 is about to be absolutely insane. The scene at Fiorano was pure chaos, the good kind. The kind where fans are losing their minds, waving flags, screaming at the top of their lungs, and singing like it's a damn rock concert. The Ferrari garage was buzzing with energy, with hundreds of die-hard tifosi gathering to witness history. And boy, did they get a show. Hamilton's first laps were all about getting comfortable with his new red beast. He took it nice and easy at first, figuring out braking points, feeling throttle response, adjusting to the SF25's handling. But let's be real, this is Lewis freaking Hamilton. It didn't take long before he started pushing, feeling out the limits of the Ferrari. And guess what? His initial reactions have been nothing short of mind-blowing. According to Ferrari insiders, Hamilton is already raving about how much better the SF25 feels compared to the nightmare Mercedes he was suffering in over the past few seasons. One of the first things he noticed was how well the SF25 holds itself under braking. This thing sticks to the asphalt like superglue, allowing him to carry much more speed into corners without worrying about the rear end having a nervous breakdown. Compared to his 2023 Mercedes, which was about as stable as a drunk guy on a skateboard, this is a massive improvement. One of Hamilton's biggest praises was the engine response. Ferrari has clearly been grinding hard, making major refinements to their power unit. The result? A smoother acceleration curve and a much more predictable power delivery coming out of corners. No more OSHA*T moments when the rear tires suddenly light up from unpredictable power surges. Remember how last year's Ferrari had the rear grip of a shopping cart? Yeah, that's gone. Thanks to major aerodynamic refinements and a reworked suspension system, the SF25 now provides the kind of rear-end stability every driver dreams of. Hamilton immediately felt the difference, especially in tight corners, where he could push harder without feeling like he was playing Russian roulette with the car's balance. Ferrari didn't just make small tweaks, They went all in with their aggressive pull-rod suspension development on the SF25. And it's paid off. The car's balance in medium-speed corners is light years ahead of what Hamilton was dealing with at Mercedes. He barely had a few laps under his belt before he was already raving about the confidence he had throwing the car into turns. Before this test, Ferrari engineers had been whispering about some wild simulator data. They hinted at a massive gain of 0.4 seconds per lap compared to last year's SF24. And now, after hearing Hamilton and Leclerc's feedback, it's no longer just a theory, it's real. To put that into perspective, in the final race of 2024 in Abu Dhabi, Carlos Sainz qualified third, just 0.229 seconds behind Lando Norris. If Ferrari has truly found a way to shave off 0.4 seconds per lap, they wouldn't just be close to pole position, they would be on pole. This is a game changer. And Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes better be sweating bullets right now, because Ferrari is finally showing some real muscle for 2025. And now, with the Fiorano shakedown in the books, all eyes are set on Bahrain, where the real pre-season tests will determine if Ferrari's newfound optimism holds up under real-world conditions. This is where the SF25 will be pushed to its limits: longer runs, tire degradation analysis, race simulations, and direct comparisons against Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes. No more controlled filming days. No more secrecy. This is where the rubber meets the road, and the true competitive order of 2025 will start to take shape. For Hamilton, Bahrain is critical. The excitement from Fiorano is one thing, but now he has to get down to business and refine every detail of his adaptation. Despite his immediate comfort in the SF25, there's still a long road ahead. Every braking zone, every throttle input, and every aerodynamic nuance will need to be dialed in perfectly. While his raw talent can compensate for a lot, the biggest challenge will be how quickly he can erase over a decade of Mercedes' muscle memory and replace it with Ferrari's completely different driving philosophy. The most challenging aspect? The brakes. Ferrari's Brembo braking system has a fundamentally different feel compared to Mercedes' industry-standard carbon brakes. Reports from Fiorano suggest that Hamilton is already adjusting well, but in full-speed conditions, these differences could become even more pronounced. If he can master them quickly, he'll be a serious threat from race 1. If not, his early season could be much trickier than expected. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc isn't just sitting back and watching. He knows exactly what's at stake. Having spent years patiently waiting for Ferrari to deliver a title-worthy car, he now finds himself in a direct fight with one of the most accomplished drivers in F1 history. Leclerc's speed is undeniable, but has never had to deal with a teammate quite like Hamilton, someone who not only has the talent to match him but also the political savvy and championship experience to shape the team around himself. And that, right there, is where the real battle lies. Ferrari might claim that both drivers are starting the season as equals, but history tells us that won't last. If one of them starts consistently outperforming the other, the team will eventually shift its resources in that direction. The million-dollar question is, will Ferrari's loyalty lean toward its long-term investment in Leclerc, or will Hamilton's presence be too powerful to ignore? The first few races will be decisive. If Leclerc asserts dominance early, Hamilton might find himself in an unfamiliar position, playing second fiddle in a team he joined with dreams of adding another title to his collection. But if Hamilton comes out swinging and proves that his experience and adaptability give him the upper hand, Ferrari may be forced to reconsider who their true number one driver should be. Beyond Ferrari's internal battle, the rest of the grid isn't standing still. Red Bull remains the team to beat, with Adrian Newey still cooking up aerodynamic wizardry that keeps them ahead of the pack. Max Verstappen isn't just going to roll over and let Ferrari take over. If the SF25 is genuinely competitive, we could see the return of an all-out war between Hamilton and Verstappen, a rivalry that last reached its boiling point in the infamous 2021 season. The difference this time? Hamilton will be in a Ferrari, and Red Bull will be facing the pressure of defending their throne rather than chasing it. Then there's McLaren. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri have been gaining momentum, and the team has been making steady improvements year after year. If their 2025 package is strong, they could be a legitimate title threat, forcing Ferrari into a multi-front battle. Meanwhile, Mercedes, after struggling in recent seasons, is desperate to return to winning ways. If they finally solve the weaknesses of their car, they could play spoiler in the championship fight, further complicating Ferrari's mission. This season isn't just about Ferrari versus Red Bull. It's about an entire grid that has been closing the gap, a sport that's more competitive than it has been in years, and a field of drivers who are all hungry to etch their names into the history books. Ferrari has a golden opportunity to re-establish itself as the dominant force in F1, but they'll have to be absolutely perfect to pull it off. For Hamilton, this is more than just another season. This is about legacy. He's already one of the greatest of all time, but winning a title with Ferrari would elevate him to an entirely different level. The last time Ferrari won a drivers' championship was in 2007 with Kimi Räikkönen. The last time they had a true dynasty was in the Schumacher era. If Hamilton can be the driver to bring them back to glory, his name won't just be remembered. He'll be immortalized in the sport's greatest pantheon. But the road ahead is treacherous. The competition is fiercer than ever. The pressure is suffocating. The expectations are sky high. And in Ferrari, a team known for its passionate highs and self-destructive lows, anything can happen. The 2025 Formula One season is shaping up to be one of the most intense and unpredictable in years. And at the heart of it all is Lewis Hamilton's monumental shift to Ferrari, a move that has already sent shockwaves through the sport. The Fiorano shakedown was just the first glimpse, a mere appetizer for what's to come. But the early signs are clear. Ferrari is serious, Hamilton is laser-focused, and the entire grid is about to be thrown into chaos. For Hamilton, this is more than just a career move. This is a historic gamble, a bold decision to leave the comfort of Mercedes, the team that helped him become a 7-time world champion, for the most iconic yet notoriously volatile team in F1 history. The risk is immense, but so is the potential reward. Winning with Ferrari isn't just about securing another title, it's about achieving immortality in the sport. It's about joining the ranks of Schumacher, Lauda, and Fangio as one of the few to conquer the pinnacle of motorsport with the prancing horse. But as much as this move is about glory, it's also about survival. Ferrari's history is littered with superstar drivers who came, fought, and ultimately fell victim to the pressures and politics of Maranello. The weight of expectation from the Tifosi, the relentless scrutiny from Italian media, the internal power struggles. It's a beast unlike anything Hamilton has faced before. The early signs suggest that Ferrari may have finally built a machine worthy of fighting at the very top. The SF25 appears to be a major step forward, with improvements in braking stability, cornering speed, and overall drivability. Both Hamilton and Leclerc have been singing its praises, and if the rumored 0.4 second per lap gain holds true in real race conditions, then Ferrari might not just be competing for podiums, they might be aiming for outright dominance. But raw pace alone isn't enough. The question now is whether Ferrari can sustain this momentum across an entire season without falling into its old habits. Strategic blunders, in-race miscalculations, and internal discord that have cost them dearly in the past. And then there's the internal war brewing within Ferrari's own garage. Hamilton versus Leclerc isn't just a battle between teammates, it's a generational clash, a power struggle between a 7-time world champion who knows how to shape a team around him and a young lion who has been Ferrari's golden boy for years. In theory, both drivers start on equal footing, but history tells us that won't last. If one of them starts outpacing the other consistently, Ferrari will have no choice but to pick a side. And let's be honest, Hamilton didn't come to Ferrari to play second fiddle. He's here to win. He's here to take control. And if Leclerc thought his position as Ferrari's #1 was secure, he's about to find out what it's like to go wheel to wheel with a legend who refuses to back down. Meanwhile, the rest of the grid is preparing for war. Red Bull remains the team to beat, but even they know their dominance isn't guaranteed. Max Verstappen is entering his peak years, and Adrian Newey's engineering genius continues to give them the edge, but the pressure of maintaining their superiority is greater than ever. If Ferrari has truly closed the gap, Red Bull will have to fight tooth and nail to stay on top. Then there's McLaren, a team that has been quietly gaining momentum and could be the dark horse in this championship fight. With Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri leading the charge, they've shown they're no longer just podium contenders, they're hungry for wins. And let's not forget Mercedes. After years of struggling with the fallout from their disastrous 2022 concept, they are desperate to return to their winning ways. If they've solved their aerodynamic and performance issues, they could very well throw themselves back into the mix, further complicating the battle at the front. The real test begins in Bahrain. That's where we'll finally see the pecking order emerge, where Ferrari's hopes will be either validated or crushed under the weight of reality. If the SF25 is genuinely as fast as Ferrari believes, then the championship could become an all-out war between multiple teams. But if Ferrari stumbles early, if reliability issues arise, if strategic errors creep in, then this could all unravel before it even begins. And for Hamilton, there's no room for error. The expectations are sky high, and the world will be watching every single move he makes. Every qualifying session, every strategy call, every battle with Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris, or Russell will be analyzed to death. There is no hiding in Ferrari. You either deliver, or you get devoured. For Ferrari, this season is about redemption. It's about proving that they can still build championship-winning machinery, that they can match the precision of Red Bull, the resilience of Mercedes, and the raw pace of McLaren. They have the tools, they have the drivers, but now they need to execute flawlessly. For Hamilton, this is about legacy, about proving that he can adapt, that he can win in a new environment, that he can conquer the one challenge that has eluded him his entire career, bringing Ferrari back to the top. The stakes couldn't be higher. The battle lines are drawn. The biggest season in years is about to begin. Will Hamilton silence the doubters and lead Ferrari to glory? Or will this be the toughest